Welcome to episode 227, Shakespeare Meets Dog of the Dumb Marks podcast. We're the best wrestling podcast in all of Green Mother Earth's land. I'm your host today, the embodiment of the red glasses, Donald. Gentlemen, what's going on this week?
Look at us ending Black History Month the right way. Look at us. We got Chris off the list, and I'm voted in by association, so we're doing things right to end February. Look at this. Kudos to us. Kudos to us. Oh, DJ in the comments right away. I know. Listen, I know we'll get into intros here in a second, but this goddamn Brock Cody segment has been on my mind ever since it happened last night. And then I saw his comments in the press conference afterwards this morning, and it made me think even more about it. And I'm sure we'll bring it up and debate it because I know he who is not on the show this week because he's living life up in Florida. This dude's down there.
He's on a summit.
He's down there at TNA tapings. He's going to spring training games. He's enjoying sun and everything else. And then when he comes back up here, he's like, nah, I don't want to do nothing. Okay, that's cool. Go have your fun by yourself then, jag off. Like, this guy's unbelievable down there. But I'm sure that'll be he who shall not be named on this podcast. I'm sure that's going to be his mush of the week this week. So we'll have plenty of time to get into Rock Cody and digest it and break it all down. I know that's what all the emergency pods are going up from LaGreca and Sam Roberts and everybody else. But there's one person out there on the internet who gets a lot of hate and love, mostly hate though, who came up with a nice little twist and on an idea in regards to this particular situation here. And I hate to agree with him, but I kind of like what he's picking up and putting down. So I will bring that up when the time being. But kudos to us ending Black History Month the right way.
Yep. Uh-oh.
There he is.
He didn't even
say real quick. Like, wait a minute.
No comment. Just left it blank. No comment.
Yes.
No comment. Look, he got the pod on listening. Just out there with a baseball trying to get an autograph from Paul Skeens. Look at him, Mark.
Yes, we are here. We are here. Guide you through the wrestling of the week and all that stuff. We will be bringing you our mushes and our Mount Rushmores, and we have a game, a little debate this to end it off. So, intro topic, as the topic of the episode is Shakespeare meets dog. Zack Sabre Jr. saying this weekend that putting a great technical match in front of U.S. audiences is like reading Shakespeare to a dog. So, do Americans only like the flashy, flippy, story-driven wrestling?
Well, wait. Before that question, Gunther immediately saw that and stole it and said it on Monday night on Raw in regards to the promo he cut coming down through the fans. And if you know pro wrestling, you know the history between Gunther, aka Walter at the time, and Zack Sabre Jr. But much like everything else in pro wrestling, everything is stolen from somebody at some point in time somewhere. I just didn't think he would actually cut the entire line word for word and steal it. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. has been saying that forever. Do I think American wrestling fans only enjoy flippy matches? No. There's been countless matches that have gone on that are not flippy, floppy dives everywhere under the sun that have been regarded as arguably some of the best wrestling matches that American fans consistently put up there in their top 10. I think the difference between back then and back now is the attention span. The attention span based on social media, based on, going back, start with Vines, if you remember Vines, 8-9 second clips, right? We're so wired for just quick hit clips in and out, in and out, in and out, that the attention span for a match that is based that way, people don't have the attention span to stay with it and get involved. one of my favorite matches of the year last year, I believe it was last year. It might have been 2 years ago at this point. Everything runs together. But Zack Sabre and Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson. Like, you had technical wrestling at its peak, and it was highly regarded match. It told a great story. It had its moments, highs and lows, and everything that's involved in wrestling. But it had Bryan Danielson in the match, right? Like, I feel like if you're gonna do that sort of wrestling in 2025, there's a certain ilk of person that has to be in the match. Zack Sabre is going to give you that regardless, because that's what he is.
That's what he is.
But if you don't have that person opposing Zack Sabre, people are going to tune out and call it boring. It's just like watching UFC. You get two people in there, and all they do is grapple for 5 rounds, doing judo and jiu-jitsu and everything else. The fans are going to say that was the worst UFC match of all time because they don't have the attention span to sit there and watch and realize what is actually going on. Is there a quick fix for it? No. Do I care? No. Give me 31 flavors of wrestling. I want to see technical grappling and chain wrestling and submission holds and everything else as much as I want to see, Tope con Hilo and Vikingo walking the ropes and doing a crazy dive. Like, I'm a fan of pro wrestling. I like it all. So it's not me hating on one style or version over the other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the dog. I am the dog. You give me 2 technical wrestlers, count me out. I'm not doing that wrestling hold. You give me a Zack Sabre versus a Gresham, and I'm out. I'm
Line me up. Sign me up for that.
No.
Yeah.
You can't. No. Give me a power bomb or something. Give me a clothesline, a lariat. Give me something, a super kick. I'll take a young buck flip over that technical wrestling. Nah.
I like technical wrestling.
Somebody else is different, but two technicians together, count me out.
I like technical wrestling. I mean, I'm more for like how Pete Dunne and Walter was at NXT Takeover. So something like that,
Is Walter a technical wrestler? I didn't take his as like a Zack Sabre style. I took his as like him just being the ring general,
like a brawler. That's been a heavy hitter. Yeah, I mean, but like a Perry Saturn versus Dean Malenko, back then I could watch that. I could have watched a Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko.
But they were technicians, but they varied styles.
But that's it's like a part technical, part like a little bit of the flippy stuff, meshing together.
I know his name doesn't get brought up a lot for obvious reasons, but I mean, you look at Angle and Benoit. Like Angle and Benoit, arguably a top 5 match of all time, and that was straight wrestling.
Hey, you
straight
got
chain, hold for hold, move for move, like.
That's different than the underhook grip. Test the strength and shit and doing all the think. Nah.
But wasn't that used to be a Hogan a Warrior? The first 15 minutes.
That was the first 15 minutes, but after that, it was all leg boots and power slams.
You got to stretch out and test the strength whenever each guy only has 5 moves. You got to milk that for all it's worth. You got over back in the day, but now, look, everything has its place. Do I think Zack Sabre gets appreciated the way that he should? No, I don't. But he's screaming up a mountain that's, never going to be climbed because they're not going to change their views. It's much like one side of the aisle screaming at the other side. No, you're not going to change their mind. They're not even going to listen to you.
What are you complaining for? You're not over here.
He was over for the G1 thing was over here. Yeah, his match was over here.
Go back home.
Yeah, so I
Come to America taking shots.
Yeah, I mean,
but he always said that too. So it just made a lot.
But to your point, Jason, like looking at it, Gresham is the prime example of somebody that is absolutely fantastic in the ring. And, from a wrestling standpoint, can argue pound for pound in that, top 10, top 12 area just based off of how good he is in the ring. But he's somebody that hasn't been able to get over the proverbial hump because of the style that he wrestles. And is it a detriment to him? Possibly. Should it be? No, based on the fact that it's pro wrestling and you need the different styles, shapes, figures, etc. But yeah, there definitely is a glass ceiling on that type of wrestling. So, the ones that can morph into something more than just that, I think have a higher ceiling than others and tend to break through a little bit more. But those that enjoy pro wrestling based off of that style are always going to defend and argue a Zack Sabre Jr. or Jonathan Gresham, etc. Right? Yeah, but Gable also does some of the flippy shit. So, Wheeler Yuta's the same way. He was a pure champion, just ground hold, move for move, but yet he's done some flippy floppy shit.
Yeah.
So
just definitely interesting take, just hearing what he had to say, and then Gunther reiterated it on Monday, walking down the crowd.
Which, by the way, was a tremendous, just tremendous.
Segment, yeah.
Him doing the Jey Uso entrance and just
this is what it feels like.
Yeah.
All right. So that was an intro topic. So let's get into mushes, and I'll start off with Chris's since it's the big thing that happened since last night. All right. So Chris's mush is SmackDown overall. I haven't watched SmackDown in a few weeks, but the Rock segment was terrible. It was all over the place and it lacked direction.
Look, man, I thought about this a lot, and I'll throw some questions out there and pepper you guys since I have a ton of them and get your thoughts and feelings on it. As I was watching it, I was like, I started to hate watch it. I did. I tweeted out there. I said, The Rock's been in too many Disney films. He's out here granting Cody 3 wishes like he's the genie in Aladdin. What are we doing? Stood out here just. I want to, make you my champ. I want to give you this. I want to give you that. I want your soul. Well, okay. And then this morning, The Rock gets on, and I see the press conference last night about the WrestleMania announcement. The segment got brought up in the media scrum, so to speak, and to surmise. Actually, I'll read you exactly what The Rock said because I have it up still. So let me.
And I quote.
Yeah, let me get it pulled up here. Look at us doing actual journalism and broadcasting right now. It might be the first time in the Denmark's history that we've done
this. Let me pull out the glasses.
Yeah. So The Rock said, with the final boss in Cody Rhodes, it's not about the WWE title. It's not about having a match. It's not about punching or kicking or bleeding or any of that. That is so part of our world. It never has to culminate to a match. I think what this does in this wild, crazy world of pro wrestling is that, to me, it just becomes something that's unpredictable. End quote. If we're not having a match, it's not pro wrestling.
Just like I was telling Steve before we came on, is this like the old college national championship days where everybody played their bowl game, then people vote who the champ is?
I get what he's saying. It's sometimes you just get moments. Like how often do we chant "hug it out"? How did you want for the embrace or the heel turn, the comeback or whatever? But some of this stuff needs matches.
So look, before I give my take on this, because I do have a take on this, and I'm gonna try, just based off of last night, I'm gonna try to weave something together, right? But LaGreca did an emergency pod, obviously.
Of course he
did. But he said what we saw last night is the final iteration of the corporate final boss. Mm-hmm. We got it with the Netflix premiere, right? Where Rock came out and he was just in full-blown TKO board member corporate mode, giving flowers, giving handshakes, high fives, love. Like, it's like, no, we don't. We want the final boss. We don't want this, right? Same thing last night. Comes back, does the announcement for WrestleMania 42, and again, flowers to Cody and bringing up we became friends and our moms are now friends and everything else. And I have all this power on the board and I can give you everything, give your family everything, your daughter everything, anything that you wish and desire, I can grant based off of my power. But it's going to cost you your soul. Looking at Cody and the love affair that Cody has with Star Wars, those of you that know Cody and the Star Wars and Darth Vader and the whole story, right? Like, to me, and I've been saying this for a while now on this show, Cody has been doing heel tactics and heel tendencies. While yes, the admiration from the crowd is still a babyface champ. We saw that evidence last night. We saw Cody leaning into that again last night. I'm not your champion, I'm their champion. To me, that's kind of it was said in a way that was like heel-ish, right? Like, not. This is a story that's going to be surrounding about Cody's inner turmoil of battling the dark side, to go back to the Star Wars reference that Cody loves so much. You have individuals here. The Rock's been a movie star for how long? The Rock, whether you love or hate his movies, but he's been in that world for so long. And we all know that you have a protagonist and an antagonist, which is same thing in pro wrestling, right? But a lot of times we don't necessarily see the battle within yourself of your inner turmoil of determining being good versus being bad, and what can you go through to have the lines blurred and crossed and everything else. Do I necessarily want this right now? No, I don't want this right now. This is not a story that I need going into WrestleMania season.
No.
I don't know why this is right now. And based off of Rock's tweet and his Instagram post, did he come back and necessarily fuck up somebody's life? Potentially, maybe. Cody's face at the end of that segment was the same face that he had at the Raw after Mania when The Rock gave him whatever was in his hand, the watch, which he posted about yesterday again, saying it's time. So did he whisper in Cody's ear back then after Raw after Mania, I'm coming for your soul? Because we don't know what was said there. That's still an open thread. We have no idea what he said there. We don't know what was in his hand. We assume it was the watch, but we don't know. But this is leaning more towards Cody's battle with the dark side, a la Star Wars. And I think The Rock is done wrestling.
Probably.
If you're not cashing in on Rock and Roman this year, based on movie commitments and everything else, we just saw Dwayne is supposedly getting a role in Scorsese's new mob film about a Hawaiian mob boss with Leonardo DiCaprio, which okay. All right. I'm not even going to go on that premise tangent, right? I mean, the man ended Fast and Furious 7 in Hawaii. So now there. Let me call up Scorsese and, hey, you want to direct a film about a Hawaiian mob boss? That's the only mob boss movie you haven't made in your entire career that doesn't involve Pacino, De Niro, and Pesci. I would be all for this story with Cody as far as like that inner turmoil and battling the dark side and, leaning more towards going heel. if it involves somebody that was there on a week in and week out basis, that could be the puppet master.
That's JBL.
And I may be way off base. You guys can chime in here as far as your thoughts, as far as what you see from just last night. Again, this is just from last night.
Yeah.
Looking at it just from last night, trying to make some semblance of sense of it. Granted, we know it's a long game with The Rock. We saw that last year with the story.
Mm-hmm.
But is this the right time for that type of story to be planted, the seed planted now? Like,
yeah, you're middle of WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
You know, you got to focus on that. Yeah, I can see after WrestleMania. Yeah.
The Rock shows up at Toronto. Cody says, no, I'm not giving you my soul. Then what? Where do we go from there?
He said, I'll see you at Chamber. So Rock's going to be at Chamber.
How does that factor? How does that factor into Cody's match for WrestleMania?
Right now, I'm in the let him cook stage, but initially it was just like, you know what, this segment's going on too long. The Rock was repeating himself, and it wasn't coming off. He's not the character to deliver this. This is a VKM role. You want your soul. You can't be talking how The Rock talks. I can't describe it, but
that's a good comparison. Yeah,
this would have played out better if Jay was a challenger, and you have an established babyface where you can see Cody turning heel. To me,
well, Cena wins the Chamber.
I mean, you're not going to get a heel Cena in his last year.
I know, but you're not establishing anybody. You're not putting anybody over.
No, but see, here's the thing with, and again, just going based off of last night, right? Yeah. The Rock brought up in that long ass segment.
26 minutes.
Cody took away what The Rock wanted last year. It was going to be The Rock and Roman last year. And Cody took it away. They bleeped out what The Rock said because of the language he used whenever he was describing how Cody took that away from him last year. So now pulling the lens back and looking at that, The Rock's he doesn't want the title. Title doesn't mean anything to him. He wants to take away everything else that Cody has, which is his good side, his morals, his relationship with the fans, everything that Cody has built up, the love, the admiration, everything, all that. The Rock wants to take all that away. You took away the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. You went into business for yourself. As head of the board, as the man with all the power, as kingpin, right? Like, I'm taking everything from you that matters, that makes you as an individual, as a person. I'm going to take all that away. All that away and break you down till you're absolutely nothing and let you know that I took it away from you and let you know that I'm the reason that everybody can be corrupted. To steal a line from Ted DiBiase, everybody got a price.
Make The Rock sound like the Joker. Everybody have a bad day. I'm going to take you down to I'm going to dress you down.
Is if this doesn't pay off in a match, which The Rock said, quoted, will it have a payoff? And the only thing that I can think of, if there's no match, the only thing that I can think of to where there's no payoff is for Cody to be left sitting in the middle of the ring, fans booing him, throwing popcorn buckets and Pepsis and everything else, the title gone, and The Rock's music hits and walks out and said, you gave me your soul. and I took everything from you.
Now that's not wrestling there you're describing. That's
exactly.
Drama.
That's what I'm saying. That's
drama.
That's not wrestling.
Yeah, that's not wrestling.
What's the match?
There's no match. He becomes a board member TKO. Cody.
No, but there was a.
I don't know who beats Cody. I don't know.
Yeah.
So is it Cena? Then that's the match. But
if you're going that route, right? It got to be against Cena. Cena's the ultimate baby faces of baby faces. He's never been a heel. Cena is numero uno good guy. Cody, in the 9 weeks that are left till WrestleMania, which that's another topic we can bring up because I feel like that's part of the reason why Raw and SmackDown have been so bad is because WrestleMania has been bumped back.
Yeah,
there's more weeks to fill. Yeah. So the road hasn't seemed as exciting because they got to stretch it out. It's a longer road traveled this year. So there's more gas stations to stop at along the way, and it's making people get restless.
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah. It's the kids. Are we there yet? Absolutely.
About to get another roadblock in the middle of that somewhere. Shit.
But it got to be against Cena because that's the only person that Cody can absolutely
turn against
because he's the ultimate babyface. Cena is what Cody wants. Cena is what Cody strives to be. Cody's the a la next Cena, not Roman. It's Cody. Cody's granting wishes. Cody's staying 3 hours after shows signing autographs for every single fan in the building. Cody's doing every single media appearance. Cody's dressed to the nines. Cody is the new Cena. But to come up and beat Cena, he realizes that as a good guy, he can't do it. Which is where he turns to The Rock.
And still loses? That's what's confusing me.
I'll give you my soul so I can beat Cena.
Then his name is Cody Uso.
Rock takes Cena's soul. That's where I'm going.
Now,
Shang-Shang.
Again, what I'm describing is not pro wrestling.
No.
It may be a Lifetime movie or a TNT Saturday afternoon movie when it's raining, but it's not pro wrestling.
Neither was the Bloodline.
Exactly. Here's where I'll throw in, and I hate to say this person's name, but JD from NY on X had a take on this. Came across my algorithm this morning. And I'll throw this out to you. If we're asking for Cody's soul, we're asking for Cody to be the Rock's champ. Cody and Cena are already going to be in main event of WrestleMania. What if we get to the chamber? Cena wins the chamber, which means CM Punk loses the chamber. CM Punk has a favor with Paul Heyman. CM Punk goes to Heyman for that favor, but it's not with the tribal chief. It's with The Rock. I want my WrestleMania main event. Cash in that favor. I'll be The Rock's champ. I'll give you my soul for my WrestleMania main event. And it's Punk, Cena, Cody at Mania, with Punk winning the title. And we get a Summer of Punk, which leads to Cena and Punk at SummerSlam, and Cena winning 17 at SummerSlam over CM Punk, one of his greatest rivals. For Cena to close out the end of the year 2025 as champion and drop the belt and ride off into the sunset. That's the scenario that JD from NY laid out. Now, I don't agree with JD from NY with a lot of the things. But from a story perspective and from a match perspective, and having
Makes
Punk
sense.
be the guy to go and turn bad. I like that. The Rock still takes away from Cody what Cody wants the most, the belt. Cody's no longer champ. How did he do it? He used CM Punk as the mercenary. So if you were to, by somehow, get the Rock schedule to open up for a match, you can do Rock and Cody at SummerSlam. You get a Summer of Punk as a heel, as a bad guy, which opens up a lot of baby faces to come after him. Roman,
Yeah,
Seth, right? Just two off the top of my head.
Drew again.
Drew again.
Drew again. Yeah, Priest.
Cena and Punk at SummerSlam for 17, and Cena wins. I don't hate that idea at all.
I don't hate that idea at all.
Look at this. It's mush. It could have been everybody's mush. But we just booked. We just talked about
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
I just came up with storyline after storyline.
I gave you. Like I said.
And that's not even including the bloodline. This is something new.
Yeah, there's no blood. There's no other bloodline members. We haven't mentioned one bloodline member.
This is another book. This is another book altogether.
I wrote a whole universe off of mush.
Like I said, I've been trying to come up with something to make last night make sense. Was last night a mush? Absolutely.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was just 26 minutes of just rambling, to be truthful.
But it opened us up to all this.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, all right, well, if I had the pen, as Billy Ray likes to say,
it's Shakespeare.
It's Shakespeare. Exactly.
I mean,
but is it Shakespeare to a dog? Will the fans actually appreciate it? Because after last night, what I saw, the fans don't want this. This means nothing to nobody. And what's one of the Rock's taglines since he's come back as the final boss? Shut up and enjoy the ride the Rock's going to take you on. So does he have enough equity for us to just shut up and enjoy the ride?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Because we just threw two different scenarios out there. One from somebody that I hardly ever agree with as far as takes go, who laid out a very compelling argument and booked through SummerSlam.
Yeah.
In a way that I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We've been in Rivals together.
Or we booked it as a way where there's no payoff, no match, but we still get the I'm taking your soul, I'm taking everything from you. And then the realization, the awakening moment for Cody realizes that he just became a corporate shill and gave everything for nothing.
I got to get my credibility back in AEW.
I don't know, folks. Hit us up, chime in, tell us what you think. How would you book it? Doesn't even matter at this point.
So because of this 20-minute segment, they had to cut Liv and Naomi.
Allegedly, that's the reason why they cut Liv and Naomi.
Yeah. Did this help her Liv and Naomi? Did it do enough to build to the storyline with them?
I tell you one thing it did. It added more fuel to the fire of women complaining this week that their booking sucks and they're frustrated. Oh,
we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we can table that question to whenever that comes up because there's a off in the weed segment to go into there, just like we did here with this one mush and spent freaking 15-20 minutes on it.
All right. Anybody else got bushes? Or that just I know I still do. Jason, go ahead.
I'm gonna just go with the IWC. I know we all hate Hogan, but everybody can't be a Hogan. There's times you got to give it up. Like I'm tired of hearing the Hogan, we coming for you chant at NXT, TNA. all of a sudden Charlotte's a Hogan, Mercedes a Hogan. They call Stephanie and Julia the Indie Hogans.
I saw that.
There's only 3 Hogans. That's Punk, that's Moxley, and that's Jericho. Other than that, let's stop representing Hogan.
I was not expecting that take to be on a mush this week. So I'm completely caught off guard by that. And I'm glad I didn't see any of that this week on my timeline. Because
I saw the Stephanie and Julia. That's the only one I saw.
I saw it was a Charlotte and a debate where Charlotte and Mercedes. And it was like they both Hogans.
Now I will say Charlotte
look good.
all week. No. My mush for the entire week until last night was AEW and their stupid booking announcement during Grand Slam. Kenny Omega, after the tag team match, calls out Takeshita to challenge him for the title, which makes sense. You just won the tag team match. You guys just pinned him. Great. Revolution title match. We want to see it. Takeshita Omega. Awesome. What does AEW announce on the same Grand Slam card? The international title tournament to face Kenny Omega at Revolution. So Orange Cassidy challenges Roderick Strong. The winner then faces Takeshita, and then the winner of that faces Kenny Omega. Takeshita's the champion.
Omega's the prize.
What do we? What? Like, that was my mush all week long. That and then the Thunder Rosa run-in.
That was a part of my mush too, but not that
Which
part.
has nothing to do with Thunder Rosa. It has to do with AEW and Tony Khan not having production meetings. To have your babyface go out there with
a chair,
and the heels just act like she has nothing in her hands. And Thunder's like, what are we doing? Do I swing? Don't I swing? It's supposed to bail out of the ring. But that's another thing. My mush is Charlotte Flair.
Here we go.
Why? Did you not hear her on commentary last night? You had her out there for what? To generate heat on herself? It just made her sound stupid, and it made her sound like she didn't want to be there. A la what Cora Jade did in TNA a couple weeks ago that Chris brought up. You're asking questions, and she's giving one-word answers. Oh, I'm undeniable. I'm unattainable. And it's like, and Wade is trying to probe her for more follow-up. Like, unattainable. And she's like, no, I'm unattainable. And it's like, yo, get off the mic. Get off commentary. You're not the juice that you're trying to squeeze out of that is not worth the squeeze. It's not doing nothing. For her to do what? Just climb back in the ring again when Tiffany's down and just say, point to WrestleMania sign, kick my feet up, and walk out.
That's all you need to do. Lean into the role.
Hogan-esque.
Only difference is Tiffany's going over.
I just don't like. I don't need it. I don't need it. It was unnecessary last night.
That's your Charlotte bias. That was enough. That was not enough to take AEW off the hook.
Bad. It was bad. It was bad that I forgot about AEW until I sat down this morning going through my list, and I'm like,
damn.
AEW.
Lies.
No, I'm dead ass. It has nothing to do with Charlotte and my bias for her being Hogan. I can't even think of like a female version of Hogan to make it into a female reference from the name aspect. But
Wendy Richter, was that the one that doing lose?
I mean, like, come on. And again, this goes back to what was brought up earlier. Mania being extended to later in April has absolutely hurt the build to WrestleMania, because what are you going to do for 9 more weeks? You get back segments like this. All that needed to be done last night was for Tiffany to come out and cut the promo that she cut.
That's it.
That's it. You didn't need Charlotte. You didn't need Charlotte coming out in the middle of the match to sit down on commentary to say what she said.
It's kind of how I feel about Jay and Gunther. Like, all the good stuff already happened.
And
9 more weeks for the payoff.
And Charlotte coming out there had nothing to do with the story of getting to the point where we get the tag team match that's going to be announced, if it hasn't already been announced, of Nia and Candice against Tiffy and Trish.
Yeah, that was announced last week.
So yeah, like again, Charlotte did not like. There's no reason for her to be out there in that segment.
To insert herself yet, yeah.
Other than she's Hogan. Oh, you want me not to appear tonight? No, that don't work for me, sis. That don't work for me, sis. I'm gonna go out here and I'm just gonna say some shit on a microphone and act like I'm, a hottie toddy snooty bitch. And
she has every reason to be out there.
Creative control.
She has every reason to be out there. Same reason Jay got to say ain't reason to be out there.
No reason at all.
One called out for the other. They can both be off
now. My mush 1B would be the Rogue NXT faction that came in Vengeance Day and just beating everybody up. I'm like, how many times are we gonna see this gimmick? I mean, I'll give it a little shot because it's young talent, but how many times are we just gonna have a faction just in the stands, run out there, beat everybody up all the time? I mean, we went through this NWO did it, Nexus did it, these guys did it. Who was the one? Retribution did it. Like, it's too much.
My problem with that faction, not necessarily what they did or how they debuted at Vengeance Day and what they did on Tuesday night. It's the fact that there's not one person in there that anybody knows.
Yeah.
There's no known commodities. You're just having 4 dudes out there that nobody knows, 3 of which have never been on NXT TV, I think, judging by the looks, because we don't know exactly who the faces are. But if OTN is now a part of this group, then yes, they've had some TV time.
No, it's just Dion Lennox.
Okay, so the other 3 dudes, we have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
He has Dante Chin equity. He's an in-house favorite. So in-house, favorite, yeah.
But like, I none of these dudes are known, so it doesn't make me feel anything because I don't know any of them. And what gives you the credibility? Like, we haven't seen you do anything.
Mm-hmm. It's just done too many times.
Other than a love triangle situation with Karma Petrovic and one backstage promo segment with Oba Femi, I have no idea who you are. If you're going to give me this group, it got to be somebody that has some equity or build it up over time and then debut them. But if you're just rolling 4 dudes out there to run roughshod over your entire roster and nobody knows who they are, what does that do?
Nothing.
It goes back to, you're a more thought out retribution.
Yes. That's it. So too many times for that angle. And then my main mush was back to the Thunder Rosa thing. It was just Hot Shot and Megan Bayne and Statlander.
To get to a tag match.
Like Hot Shot and that when you have a pay-per-view in 2 weeks.
With no clean finish.
This is like, come on, AEW. You got to be smart about this. Especially with those 2.
Yeah, no, like I don't get it.
That was the big one. Just watching that the whole time, I was like, I can't believe they are actually wrestling each other with a pay-per-view coming in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
On Megan Bain's re-debut on Dynamite for a singles match.
Just to run it back.
Just to run a tag team match.
Mm-hmm. Did he have the whole
the tag team gonna be the pay-per-view?
I don't know if it's going to be on the pay-per-view, but
Okay.
that's what it led to.
Mm-hmm.
So you burn through a money-making feud to set up a tag match on Collision that buried Thunder Rosa, who was at one point in time your most over babyface in the company. What has Thunder done since she's come back? She had a great match with Deonna Purrazzo, and that was it. Now what is she doing? She's getting stooged off. She loses to Megan Bain on Collision to come out Wednesday night. For that? Why? You know, the women are upset about their booking in WWE right now. AEW got the same gripes. Got the same issues. Talent not being utilized correctly, rushing through feuds, burning through stories, not even giving stories.
And where's Camille in all this?
Not to be seen. She's going to sit out the remainder of her contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
She got a movie to promote.
But what are we doing? What are we doing?
All right. So those are our mushes. Took a little longer than we thought, but hey, that's what we did.
Well, that's because we just booked out.
Yeah, we did. The whole rock segment.
I'm sure Chris is gonna have something to say that I turned his mush into my booking 101 fantasy camp.
You turned a mush into a Rushmore.
Yeah, I turned it. Yeah, because why? Because I booked it. Because I booked it. That's right, Chris. I turned your mush into a Mount Mushroom because I booked it.
Speaking of Rushmores,
stick that in your Florida pipe and smoke it.
How about Rushmores this week? I'll go with Chris first. He said his Mount Rushmore is Leon Slater versus JDC, no DQ match on Impact. He is a big Leon Slater fan and had a lot of fun watching it live. he said
live.
Because he was in the Impact Zone.
Chris, when did it air?
Leon Slater is he's a better version of Javon Evans.
Okay.
Interesting. Is what I'll say about Leon Slater.
That's a name I don't know. I'll have to look up.
I mean, the clip that's going around on X and that is he does a freaking, I don't even know what it was. It was like a swanton into a 450 splash through a table on the outside. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this move in my life. I don't know how his body rotated through the revolutions to land properly, because he literally leapt off like a regular Jeff Hardy swanton and somehow turned it into a 450. And yeah, like, he's insane from a move perspective. Like, he's, as creative in the ring as Trey Miguel, as Myron Reed. He got the bouncy shit like Javon. Like I said, he is a total package and is like 19 or 20 years old.
Damn, that young.
So like, he's TNA's Javon. Like, those two are comps. But so Leon Slater is. I think Leon Slater, I put him above Javon if I'm ranking the two current day right now.
Jason?
I'm gonna give it to Ricky Saints. Just for him. Just for him not being off TV for so long. It was just good to see him back in the ring. cutting promos like he normally does on either page at all at that. So it's just good to see. And getting in front of the name change. Because a lot of scuttlebutt online when it first happened.
Look, man, he sat down with Bully on Busted Open After Dark after NXT went off the air, and it's about 35 minutes long on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't watched it. But everything he said about why he changed the name, I got no problem with the name change.
And his real name is Ricky Starks, right?
Yeah, and he didn't own Ricky Starks. Like Jordan Grace owns Jordan Grace, so she could come in with Jordan Grace. Julia, same way. Like that's why Walter had to go away to Gunther. And so whenever Ricky's time in WWE is up, which I hope it's 10 years from now, and he goes back on the Indies, he can be Ricky Starks again. But Ricky Saints,
it fits his bravado.
It does.
It
make
does.
it work.
Mm-hmm.
He's from New Orleans, like he said, like everything he said about why he chose it. So he's happy with it. He wants it. He picked it. Like, okay, your reasons behind it are fine. I got no issues with it. Let's roll with it.
Now just let the man cook. Said it doesn't change the wrestler, does it?
A couple weeks from now, it'll be just, I think the Walter to Gunther name change was like more drastic, and he's gonna get buried. But I mean, look where Gunther's at now.
Yeah, people get
so
used
it's the
to
man.
it.
Yeah, it's the man that makes the name.
Yeah,
so
get used to it.
But yeah, I didn't mind the contract signing and everything. Wesley, Ethan Page, Javon putting Ricky in a tag match, etc. I'm cool with. So let's see what he does. Let him cook.
Once I don't want to see Wesley. I want to see matches against Wesley.
Utility man. He really is. Steve, your Rushmore?
So I had a lot of my Rushmores this week to pick from. Kevin Owens on social media with his selfish promo last night, panning over the doorway of Sammy's house and seeing Sammy in there with his family and him talking was tremendous. Jacob Fatu again last night, the initial interaction with Solo. Yeah, if we didn't want your ass standing here, your ass wouldn't be standing. And then later on, when they're walking out to the ring, Solo's cutting a promo and Jacob just cuts him off. It runs through everything. And then hit my music. Like Fatu is now the captain. I'm the captain now. Right?
I mean, you got the fans chanting, we want Jake. So
Gunther, we talked about with the J entrance was tremendous. There was a lot of good wrestling this week as well, but my Mount Rushmore this week, Moose in NXT with the face-off with Oba. I was laying down on the couch when NXT started and Oba came out, and then Oba does his promo and it hit his music, and it went black, and I'm like, and then the beginning of the music started playing, and then as soon as they hit the wide shot, I'm like, no, they're not. And then they panned in, and Moose I'm like, I popped up off the couch like, holy shit. We've been saying Moose and Oba since this TNA partnership happened.
Yeah.
Moose and Oba have been calling for Moose and Oba. Moose got in the ring on Tuesday night and said, this needs to happen. And then it just carried over into Thursday with Oba showing up. And now we're getting, cross brands. The NXT champion is on TNA, which people were bitching about initially. Why don't they send bigger stars to TNA? Why are we getting, certain people that aren't even known or seen on NXT TV? So Moose, Oba, big meaty men slapping heavy meat is my Mount Rushmore this week because I'm all for that match. I don't know how it gets booked. I don't know who loses.
That's my only.
That's where the crosshairs come, right? Because Moose is X Division champion. He's not TNA heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Do you have a TNA X Division champion beat your NXT champion? But if Moose can't beat Oba, then who's really gonna be able to beat Oba? But to stare down the face off, everything about it, I'm all in for. All in.
That's probably gonna be the trade off. You get the Hardys win on NXT, and then Oba goes over on Moose. That's probably your win-loss trade-off.
So you get the Hardys and Oba. You have them winning on TNA for next week when that match was booked?
Yeah.
So you're going to have Moose in the system lose twice then? You're going to have them lose to Oba and the Hardys and then have Moose lose again in a one-on-one match to Oba?
You have Moose going over on Oba?
Need a partnership.
I mean, look, if it's a non-title match.
Non-title match, yeah. So no belts are changing. No belts are ever going to change between his partnership.
If it's non-title, then I would have Moose go over. Not clean, but have Moose go over just based off of the system being a heel group and everything else. Because essentially, if you get to Oba beating Moose and he just runs through the system and everything else, what good does that do to the system in TNA? Like, what good does that do TNA at all? To have your top stable just get ran through by one guy?
What good does it do to NXT? Because there's nobody in line.
Which I'm fine with, having Moose and Oba go at it because you necessarily don't have somebody there for Oba. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting because we have 9 weeks until freaking Stand and Deliver. Which did you see they dropped the NXT off of Stand and Deliver? It's just now Stand and Deliver. Roadblock is just now Roadblock. They're not branding it as NXT PLEs.
Huh?
So it's a WWE PLE Roadblock.
Interesting.
So I don't know. We'll see. A lot. I'm here for it. I just give me them two in a match and let them go ham.
And my Mount Rushmore is Harley Cameron at Grand Slam. Even though she's green, I love the match that she had with Mercedes. And it shows that Mercedes can help some workers out.
Was the match good?
Now there's your Mercedes hate. You want to talk about my Charlotte bias and hate coming in earlier? There's your Mercedes hate. There was not one person I saw that said that was a bad match on Saturday. Not one.
You just love Harley Cameron.
She gave the meme of 2025 when she popped up from below the ring with the puppet. Like that's the meme of 2025.
There you go. That shit overshadows stuff. So you love Harley Cameron.
The only part of that match that I didn't like that I thought was bad was the way she took the finish. And I don't know if it's because she is so green to take the finisher the way that it needs to be taken, but I don't like that finisher from Mercedes. I haven't liked this since they debuted it. It's looked too wonky too many times. Taking it
on too many people. Yeah, no.
Yeah, she needs to switch that up and do something different. So, but yeah, Harley Cameron again, maximizing minutes, like
definitely. All right.
No Tony Storm winning the title back.
Talk about Charlotte Flair. Oh man, lived long enough to become the villain. She's on pace.
All right, so those were our Mount Rushmores. So give us a hit up and tell us your Mount Rushmores and your mushes of the week. So let's get into this game.
Can't see the full list there. There we go.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, Jason leaning in. Put on your reading glasses, you old fart.
I have mine with the y'all got the chat on the side and all that jazz.
Yeah. But I'm not on my cell phone. I'm on my laptop. You on your phone?
We're doing
I'm on a 12-inch screen. I don't know.
We're doing a debate this. And this comes from WatchMojo.com. Now, this was before the Royal Rumble, because I know how Jay's win broke the internet also. But this is the top 10 wrestling moments that broke the internet.
According to his rankings.
According to yes, according to Watch Mojo. So we got number 10, the Montreal Screwjob. 9, Cody Rhodes returning to WWE. 8, the final deletion. 7, Brock Lesnar's night after WrestleMania comeback. 6, The Rock versus John Cena. That was once in a lifetime. 5, WWE buys WCW. 4, AEW's debut. 3, the Yes Movement. 2, CM Punk's pipe bomb. And number 1, the end of the streak, which is the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak.
So, a couple of things just looking at this list. The Montreal Screwjob, WWE buying WCW. Those to me are, especially the Screwjob, like the internet really wasn't a thing back then. Like you may have had more message boards, especially with the WWE buying WCW. Montreal Screwjob to me, that's like
97. So.
That's like revisionist history looking back. Like if the internet was around, would that have broke the internet? Yes. But I don't think you can put that on this list just based off of the internet being in its infancy as what it was back then. Brock's night after WrestleMania comeback, is that the WrestleMania when he came back to face Cena?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
not last year's where he came back and turned on Cody.
No. That's where the Cena just lost to Rock, and then Brock on the Monday afterwards came out and F5'd him.
The pipe on. I think the final deletion needs to be higher on this list.
I can get off the list.
That is what there was not a single person that was not talking about the final deletion whenever it happened.
I wasn't watching TNA at all, but somehow I find out about the final deletion because I wasn't watching wrestling during that time. And everybody was talking about the final deletion. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I had to look it up and see what it was. And it was something different at that time. Very, very different in wrestling. So that has to move up on my list.
Yeah, I would bump that up. I would bump up the debut of AEW. Even though the cat was quote unquote out of the bag as far as them starting a promotion, but when it was announced and actually came into play, because it was such a void that was filled with having a true legitimate quote unquote number 2, right? That should be higher up. The end of the streak is definitely for me number 1. I would that just because of it being Brock and nobody had it pegged and the memes that came out of it, like Punk's pipe bomb for me, that's too high. I don't like. That's more people just, again, going back revisionist history, blowing smoke because it was a quote-unquote shoot promo. I mean, hell, if you're putting the Punk's pipe bomb up there, the same equivalent should be when Paul Heyman cut the promo on Vince in the ring. When Vince, tell me exactly how you feel. And Heyman went off for 15 minutes just berating the man.
I'd have to put Screwjob higher, just because of what it did without the internet. Like that was talking about person to person, legit.
That's
made waves. So
that's a good flip
That's a
side
good way
to
to put it.
coin.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, Hogan being the third man would be on here, wouldn't it?
Definitely. If you
But again,
yeah.
You put Screwjob, Hogan the third man. Yeah.
But that was the year before, you know. Internet
I
wasn't
know.
around. I mean, the way that they sort of explained it, they should have been like, "This is like when the internet, you know, took off. It didn't have that defined line."
Look, I was waiting for Gail or Francine pictures to upload. I wasn't.
You was over there subscribed to Francine and Missy Hyatt, whatever that was back in the day.
Wrestling.com.
What would you put on this list? What do you think? Of course, Jay's Rumble win, you know, be recent bias.
Yeah, Jay's Rumble win recently bias just because of the amount of traction and everything else.
And nobody saw that coming. In like the wrestling community, I will put Vince bringing Bischoff in as GM. Because nobody really saw that coming.
Yeah, that's one that was a holy shit moment that would have broke the internet as far as now with tweets and views and everything else. I don't know. Like, and this is where we're so desensitized to this type of stuff, right? Like AJ Styles showing up in the Rumble.
That was huge.
Jordan Grace coming out in the Women's Rumble.
That was huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that was like Kofi Mania was more of a simmer that spaced out over time. In that regard.
You can say the same thing about the Yes Movement.
If AEW played its cards right, there could have been more stuff on here.
I mean, Seth turning on the Shield.
Yeah.
Again, that was, you know, how many years ago, but
if the internet was like it is now back then, Pillman 9mm.
Him breaking in, Stone Cold breaking in the house and Pillman on the couch with the gun, like that would have.
I remember that had us talking in grade school. Was like, did you see that?
That had people legitimately calling in, like when the brawl happened, when the NWO, when Nash lawn darted Mysterio on the trailer.
They're in LA.
People literally legitimately called the cops to Universal. Like there was a massive brawl. Legitimate cops showed up, and then we get one of the greatest moments in pro wrestling ever of Randy Savage hopping on the car, a la Goldust and Piper in the back, the parking lot brawl. I don't know. Like, I feel like The Rock versus Cena. Okay, Cody Rhodes coming back. Yeah, that was a holy shit moment. But again, a lot of that, especially for everybody that's inside the bubble that watches and listens and talks, like the rumors were out there that he was coming back, but maybe not necessarily at that Mania. So I would shuffle a couple of these around. Leave the streak at 1. So you got the number 1 right.
Yes.
The streak.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's definitely number 1.
And I think it would be number one regardless of who ended the streak.
Yeah, because we're so coveted.
Because like it would have been regardless of who ended it. You know, nobody thought Brock was going to end it, but I think, with that being said, when that streak ended, it would have sent shockwaves around the internet.
All right. And that was our debate this. Any quick hitters?
Yeah, let me pull some stuff up here. Allegedly, TKO has reportedly purchased the rights to Lucha Underground, with early talks of a potential revival under the WWE umbrella. I don't want the revival of Lucha Underground. We saw that with ECW.
Mhm.
Don't give me that.
Yeah, no need for that.
Just give me Lucha Underground. Just put it on so I can go back and binge watch Lucha Underground. Just let me watch that. 5 seasons of that. There was that. Triple H announced the ID championships. So the WWE ID stars that were signed the WWE ID contracts will compete in tournaments for a WWE ID champion, which will then defend that belt around the indies. TNA announced that they're going to Vegas on April 17th for Unbreakable. So again, TNA continuing to have a banger every year. Partnerships coming out the woodwork. With that, Carmella removed all references to Carmella on social media, changed her name back to Leah Vandale, took WWE out of her bio. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like Carmella is done with pro wrestling. Or at least done with WWE. We said Maple Leaf Pro was coming back March 14th and 15th. Some of the people that have been announced so far, Stu Grayson was announced. Harley Cameron was announced. So they're starting to build up that card and show with people. And then last thing for me, this week, Athena surpassed 800 days as ROH Women's World Champion.
Congratulations. But you wouldn't
so
know
the
it.
Forever champ, the Forever champ is still the Forever champ. But we got to get her. We got to get her in a prominent spot, man. Have to. So
I've seen 2 other things. Not sure if they're verified or whatever, but Scott Towner's son signed an NIL deal. Is that verified? And then,
that is verified.
Okay, and then Shane McMahon wanting full control in AEW.
I saw that. So allegedly, when they met,
big balls.
Yeah, big balls. Shane said he wanted full equity and total control of AEW, and Tony Khan ghosted him after that. Hence why we've not seen Shane McMahon show up in AEW.
Yes. So who is Moxley actually talking about?
I have no idea.
Still
no idea.
Don't tell me you played that card without it being done. That was a plan. Oh.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that ending segment on Dynamite.
Dude.
I am here for the Ops though. The Ops is great.
I hate the name, but I like.
See, I like the name. He flipped the Ops. He flipped it. Just seeing Joe, like, they just looked. It just looked cool. Like, that's just Joe's aura. Like, Joe is just Joe. And to me, Joe is definitely a top 5 in the argument for his generation, which people don't talk about enough with him being up there, top 5. But everything that he's done from Ring of Honor to TNA to WWE and then AEW, like, yeah. But I've been a Joe stan forever and a day. So,
all right. So, thank you everybody for watching and listening to episode 227, Shakespeare Meets a Dog of the Dumb Marks Podcast. Follow us on all of our social medias at Dumb Marks Pod. Get the merch, prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod, and on Spotify. Give us a follow and a listen.
Chris, I hope you get a foul ball to the face.
Oh boy. And with that is our positive quote for the week. Comes from one of my favorite gaming franchises, The Last of Us, and it's coming back April 13th.
Oh, hold on. Real quick, pause. Before you give just a couple quick shout outs on a sad note, but want to shout out rest in peace, Mike Lang, Pittsburgh broadcasting legend, the voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He did some pirate stuff back in the day, passed away this week. Arguably one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. So many catchphrases and notoriety for what he did, being the voice for the Penguins, but just overall great man, great broadcaster, living legend, arguably definitely on the Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh broadcasters. So local ties there. And then rest in peace to Valletta Wallace. Biggie Small's mother passed away yesterday. As well. So rest in peace to those two individuals there in that regard.
And then the quote of the week comes from The Last of Us, one of my favorite gaming franchises. When you're in the darkness, look for the light. From the
Cody
himself.
Cody.
And with that, we will see you next week. And always, fuck Dave Meltzer.